Morning guys, so welcome back to NZ Marko at the Kuston. So I think today I'll make those brackets up. I think we'll just start with a bit of cardboard or something like that. We'll just fab them up and get them put on there. Might as well get this end of it buttoned up and all the brackets made, and then we'll shift to the front end, probably tomorrow or whatever, you know what I mean? Once we sort of get these fabbed up and cleaned up and painted and whatever, we can get them on, get them permanent, get the extra bolts and stuff we need, and once we work that out, and get them on. So I'm going to have make 8 brackets, so we're going to fab them, but I'll make insides and outsides for everything, I think. We'll see. I mightn't have to on this back piece here because it is double. It has got a big heavy double bracing, I think. Yeah, it has. So I won't panic about the inside of that one because it has got a big thick plate in there. But yeah, so I'll make 6. I'll make one for the inside of the guard and then both sides of that. So yeah, we'll get making. The old cardboard box doesn't go Australia occasionally, eh? Righty, so I stopped mucking around with that not long after I stopped the video. And we've just been going through just a bit of a final list of things we need to either get or organise. So we want the webbing to go on here, so I can set these for when the top's up to make the side panels, but also that will give obviously the measurements for the people when they do the upholstery for the hood. So I want some webbing for that. I need about 6.5 to 7 metres, whatever that is in feet. What are we looking at? Be about 20 feet, thereabouts, give or take. I think 3 metres is about 10 feet, so it's probably a bit more like 24 feet, 25 feet-ish, give or take. So I want all for the engine, all for the gearbox, all for the diff. I want radiator hoses, they're inch ID, or 25mm. Need about, not quite 3 feet, about 800mm, so that. The copper fuel line. Now the original copper fuel line is 6.4mm on the outside, or so that's about that roughly, give or take. So it's 2.5 of an inch. So that must be a quarter, I think. So you need that fuel gauge kit. So we need the kit in the sight glass assembly, because that one is completely blocked. And we can get that from straightape.com at the moment. That seems to be available. So we need the wheel center caps made, we need drive shaft made, we need a gear knob made, we need an air filter. The piece on the carburetor is 46mm, and in inches that would be, where are we? So I got to 46, roughly, so somewhere about there. It's about 1.8 inches, give or take. So yeah. So need that, need a windscreen wiper. That's one thing I haven't seen in amongst my travels through bits and pieces. I haven't seen an electric or even a vacuum windscreen motor, windscreen wiper motor, which I imagine this probably would have had. And I'm guessing that's what these holes will go for it to bolt on here. It'd be on the inside, you know, and the shaft will go out here and it'll be white screen. Also a interior mirror. I've got what I think is the base, but I've never really dived into it. It's easily cleaned up and painted. I'm pretty sure that's what this must be. It, you know, needs cleaned up and painted, and then a bit of mirror put on it. So yeah, that needs to be sorted. I'm just trying to think, what else do we need to buy to finish this car off? We've got a wiring loom kit coming. We've tried to order tyres. They're apparently the size that we need, which is 21 by 5.25. Is must be on back order coming into the country, so we've got to wait on them as well. So the wiring kit coming. Oh, exhaust tubing. So I need to make an exhaust for this thing. What else do we need? Alright, I'll just write down exhaust. What size it would be. Right, so I've just written that on there. Now this is actually a gasket for it, which reads 2 inch on the inside for that. So whether the tube would be 2 inch or a little bit smaller than that, I don't really know. somewhere about that point. Be 1.75 inch, somewhere like 2 inch, I'd imagine. I don't look, to be honest, like, I don't think it really needs to be huge. I think 2 inch or 1.75 or 1 7/8 or something like that would be big enough, I think. Yeah, but that is 2 inch on the inside, that gasket, but the hole isn't anywhere near that. And the manifold itself, it's about 1.6, I think it is. Let's see it. Yeah, so yeah, it's somewhere around about there. I'm gonna roughly measure it, which is it the same size as that, or is it too small? Yeah, I reckon that's too small. That's 41, I think. Yeah, it needs to be bigger than that. I thought maybe using some of that, but no, it's too small. So, I don't know, 1 7/8, something around about there. What's the question mark on there? Where's that gasket with that? I just think that would be alright. I'll have to double check to see what 1 7/8 is in millimetres. Right. Yeah, so somewhere around about that, 1 7/8, 2 inch, which I think's equivalent to about 47, I think, or 51mm, which would be the conversion that I can see. I think 45 would be 1.75 inch, which I think would be way too small. Just looking at that gasket, if you know what I mean. I don't know, just thinking out of my head. Just have we nail down here and have we nosy in here. Oh, it's not terribly big, because I've that gasket up there. Yeah, I think 1 7/8 or something like that would be fine. Which is about what it looks to be. It would be a pretty straight flow through. I don't think there's any point going 2 inch. And obviously we've got to make a, I think I actually might have the clamp for that somewhere, amongst bits and pieces here. I'll have to find it, but I know that's there. I assume that's what it's for. So yeah, somewhere around about that. What else do I need that we need to get? I'm just trying to do a sort of a final of the major bits and pieces. Like, I'll still be going to buy the odd bolt and whatever. Maybe the odd little bit of steel just from the local engineers, but yeah. Hopefully we've got the screws coming. I think Arco's on team. I'll have to chase him up. I know he's so fucking busy, but hopefully he hasn't forgotten to sort them for us and at least get them on their way. Oh, I'm not sure if I mentioned that the steel ball arrived. It was only, was it 37mm? Which is like 1.5 inches. Or whatever it was. I was like, what the fuck? So yeah, hopefully he orders the right size this time. I don't know. It came in and it said 2 inch on the bag that it was in, but yeah, it was weird. They obviously didn't even measure it to make sure it was the right size. But yeah, I can't think of anything else just off the top of my head at the moment. Like, there's not a lot else to get for it, if you know what I mean. It's got the wiring kit that's coming. Wheels are coming. New rims are being ordered to come from Ireland. tyres we can't get at the moment, but they're on back order. I said the wiring kit's coming, wheels are coming. Brightwork's coming. So yes, fuel line, fuel gauge stuff, exhaust, and then upholstery pretty much. Gear knob to be made. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. We've got the battery. We've got some battery leads made up the other day for one side to go to the starter switch. Got them made. Yeah, I don't know. Apart from some bulbs for the lights, once we get them all sorted and we can work out what we actually need. Once we got everything here, and sorted, at least then we can order bulbs. Yeah, I don't know. You do a lot of standing and thinking. I can't think of anything else really. Most of it's just minor bits of hardware probably. But the upholstery guys will take care of the upholstery on the top. I think we've got springs upstairs for the bottoms. We have to look into that at some point. Now when we're a bit closer, we'll drag them down and whatever and have a quick nosy, make sure they are the right thing. I think, because there's some springs upstairs, old seat springs and stuff. Yeah, I can't think of anything else, really. Oil. Everything. Yeah, drive shaft, yeah. I think that's can't be fuck all else apart from that. The center cap's been made. We've got all the brake stuff to put on when it's ready to go. That's all sorted. Radiator hoses. Yeah, I think I've got everything. Anything I can fucking think of at the moment anyway. You guys can, when you watch this, if you think of anything that you think that, you know, that we sort of haven't covered, because we've got the rubber for the windscreen and the cowl vent that's turned up, so I've got that to play with too. So I've got that here. Yeah, I don't know. I think I've got it. I think I've got the most of it. Just all the little funny little odd stuff that needs to be sorted, that we haven't dealt with, if you know what I mean. I'll just write wheels and tyres on here just to I'm gonna write it there, our way. So yeah, the tyres are 21 by 5.25. It's not S's, it's just me being lazy. That's confusing. Run rooms on here too, or pans, whatever. Yeah, I can't think of anything else at the moment. Yeah, so I think I'll carry on sorting this stuff out, otherwise I'll be still standing here at lunchtime trying to rack my head what else we need. I'll get making this stuff, finishing this stuff off, get it cleaned up and on the car, and if anything else comes to mind, we'll write it down. Yeah. I've written it here so he can take it away if he wants to, if you know what I mean. I was going to write it on some small bits of paper, but that's kind of hard to miss. Righty, so I just ground all these up, got all the holes drilled in. I reshaped them, actually bolted them all together and ground them all up and got them all exactly the same shape. So I'm just going to run over them with the DA, give them a clean up, because I was trying to use the belt before on the old belt sand, but she's buggered. I need to get another one. And I haven't bought any more roll lock discs or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get hold of these guys that I want to get some stuff off, see if they have belts in this size, which is 48 by 6 inch. And I wouldn't mind get some roll locks, and I might get some other bits and pieces and just test a few of the bit of the gear and do some reviews on it. Euro Mac, I think it is, they call themselves. I'll throw it up on the screen again. So I'm going to contact them shortly, have a bit of a yarn to them, because there's different types of grits and grades and whatever else. Not so much grades, but different types of grits or abrasives. So I want to, because a lot of the, even the roll locks, they have in different types of grit. So I just need to talk to them and just see what's the better one for me to use, because I'm not a freaking expert. You know, when you buy 3M, you know, you normally know what the normal stuff is you buy, but this is a completely different brand, and I'm just not familiar with what I should be buying off them. So I'll talk to them, tell them what I'm doing, say that I'm going to make some videos on them, because I haven't seen any other reviews except for the one I did with their cutting discs there ages ago, and Dad bought some, and they just cut and cut and cut and cut. They didn't disappear quick, which was really good. So yeah, I'm going to basically talk to them, find out what they've got, build up a bit of a quote, and maybe get a quote number so we can get the owner to email back and just get that quote and order it and get it here once I've had a bit of a talk to them. So yeah, I think it's well worth doing, and try get a couple of 3 bouts, maybe a couple of different grades, get some roll locks and some other sanding discs, stuff like this. You know, I wouldn't mind getting a couple of flappies and a few grinding discs. They even make this sort of stuff too, and just try some of it out and see how it goes, because I'm not particularly, these are pretty average, these things, they work alright, but they're pretty average. You know, try their quality of gear out. It's New Zealand made, and test it, see what it's like, you know, see if it's worth plugging and promoting, and then I'll see if maybe I can get some, what do you want to call it, some discount, maybe make up a discount code or something like that, and see if we can get some people, you know, even if it's a 5 or 10% discount, you know, if local people buy, you know. I know there's a few New Zealand channels following me, New Zealand guys follow me, so, you know, if I can help a few out, point them in a direction of a good product, why not? You know, I'd much rather promote somebody like a New Zealand made product. I use an Australian made, but you know, if I can promote a New Zealand made product, you know, I don't know where are these made. I presume these are probably American, are they? I don't know. Probably for hunting enough, I'll find it. But you know what I mean, like, I'd much rather support a New Zealand based company than an Australian or a American. Like, these are alright, but you know what I mean, why not use a local brand? Because some of the stuff that you buy, because I've got these ones here, these Bosch ones are just garbage. Oh, they do the job, but you know, they're garbage, they just disappear. These ones are okay, these aren't too bad. But the the ones that they did there that I did on that Dad's video, holy shit, they just, you know, and it was only the thin ones, they cut and cut. Dad used them when he was doing that trailer. He cut everything on that trailer when he was doing that repair on that drill bar with one disc. And I was still using it months later. So I'll probably get it. Oh, I don't know if I have got it here. I had it floating around for a while. I used it for a while. I think I must have thrown it out by now. But yeah, look, I was using it for ages too. I actually used it for ages, and then I think I had it set up in here with the small stuff. Because again, I want to try and turn these small ones into like a cut-off disc. That maybe I can put on one of these or get a cut-off disc and see if I can use them instead of using these silly little holes. You know, you may as well, same size, you know, you may as well use it. That same sort of thing, use all the ends, you know, that's what I'm trying to see if I can set that up at some point. Because I did buy these years ago to do something, I still had one. It's kind of why I want to use them. But anyway, I'll get cleaning those up. Alrighty, so I got all them all cleaned up. Gave them a quick media blast just to, I guess, can the surface a bit better, get rid of any of other like bit of surface rust and crap, whatever was on them, and yeah, we'll just give them a quick etch. So we'll let that dry, and then I don't know, mid-afternoon or whatever, you know, sometime early afternoon, we'll give them a couple of coats of black. And then they should be ready to put on, hopefully. And yeah, so yeah, after lunch I will start making the ones to fit in here. I have to be a bit skinnier. So yeah, and then we can at least get that stuff bolted up and clamped up. So yeah, half tempted to maybe put a wee bit of that frickin', well, half tempted to put a bit of that on there, not sure yet, we'll see. Probably wouldn't hurt on one side anyway, but we'll see what happens. Probably be alright. Probably be alright. See what happens. Because we've texture sprayed all the insides and all that stuff, so yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Alright, I'll catch you later on. Alrighty, so I got some black on them. I'll probably give them another coat very, very shortly. And I hunted out these pieces that go in here. Found both the ones that were floating around here. So they've actually got a bit of that weeping, what do you want to call it, stuff on there. So I've had a bit of that on there at some point, or something like that. They've got a couple of rivets in there, so I'm not quite sure where. And they've obviously had a bit of rubber on here, like a little rubber. I don't know whether these were on here like that. I'm guessing. Was that meant to be underneath and it was just meant to stop it from rattling? Or was it on top? I assume it's meant to be underneath. From all the photos I can see, it looks like it's underneath, but like there's not that many photos with them with the hood sides. Well, there is, but you know what I mean. They're all freaking a little bit different too. So I have to have a bit more of a study on that. I just can't quite figure out why that's on there. You know, I can understand, but you know what I mean. Because it's on both sides. Not sure. Because these aren't the ones, but they are, the proper ones of these are over there all ready to go. So these here are the bits that would go underneath there and under there. So I wonder if that's bits on there to help space these to the same thickness as these. And that's the only other thing I'm wondering. Might be. That might be why they're in there. It's a spacer thing. Alright. that would make sense, I guess, because that's quite thick. That's probably 1/4 inch, but that's only probably 1/8. I put a little bit of that sort of thing around it to space, I'm guessing. Weird. And we have to make up some sort of little rubber buffer thing that would rub up against the sit up against the hood sides that are buried underneath that shit. God, it's freaking dusty around here. So yeah, I need to work that out too. So I'll get these cleaned up at some point next day or two. But anyway, we'll make up a pattern for this, and it'll be just this side. Because like I said, that's actually got a big thick piece of steel on the back side of that anyway, so we won't worry about this back side. We'll just make up a skinny strip to fit on this side. So it's just not pulling on the individual bolts. So yeah, I might give them another coat, and then we'll make up a pattern for you. Alrighty, so it's been a minute or 3. So I made me template up. That was one of the pieces I cut it out of. So we cut that out, grounded it, drilled some holes in it, cleaned it up. And then I took it over here and sprayed them with some etch, and then I sprayed them black there a wee while ago. They were due for another coat of black. So I got that far, so I started stripping these bits down. So I got that stuff off them, the little rivets and those bits. So I think the rubber, I might use a chunk of this since we've got it. So I'm thinking what I might do is find a couple of little small bolts, like just longish ones. I'll reuse these for the particular thing when I clean them up, the little bolts and nuts and bits and pieces. But what I think I might do is find a little, something like this. Actually, something like that might be perfect, with a small washer, and then another small washer, and then a nut on the back of it. Throw out my grinder, or my drill should say. Cut a square of this off, squeeze it up fairly tight. I might have to trim it down, and then I might just spin it with running it beside the grinder or something like that, just to make it round. And we'll go from there, I think. Once I drilled a hole roughly in the centre, I think this will work fine for what it needs to be. We'll make it work. Yeah, and then I'll give these a decent clean up and a sandblast. These are real decent clean up. Might have hit them with a wire wheel maybe on that other thing first, and then give them a sandblast. Because the media grit's not very good in it now anymore. But yeah, combination two, we'll give them a really bloody good clean up. The same with these, we'll try and clean these up somehow. And we'll make up some little washers. I'll have to put some new ones of those rivets in there. It's actually a pain in the ass because a lot of these seem to be quite long. So I'm fucking hoping that I can get those little short rivets to fit. I don't know if I will, but we'll try. Going to fold over because these are toasted, but they're a lot longer than, or they would have been a lot longer than, sorry, God. They would have been a lot longer than the ones I've got left. I think they would have been that 5/8. So yeah, it seems to be a lot of these bits and pieces on this were 5/8, unless they're little small ones holding stuff on like this, you know what I mean? Like they just were little tiny. God, can't see what I'm doing. Unless they're little tiny ones like this, you know, they're tiny little fellas. But look on this, whatever that was off, I can't remember. Doesn't matter anyway, but you know what I mean. So yeah, we'll get this stuff cleaned up and try and whip up a couple of rubbers, and then we'll get this stuff painted up, at least get that sort of stuff on. I was going to spray them glossy black. I'll see how well these turn out. They might be a bit flat. Yeah, I might have to go get a decent can of gloss for these because they are seeing a little bit more. That mightn't hurt it mightn't matter too much in there. We'll see. We'll paint them black, see what they look like. If it looks a bit weird, we'll get a can of gloss. I'll use it just in case it looks a bit strange, but you're only going to see freaking part of it anyway by the time you put the rubber on there and whatever. So we'll see how we get on there. But anyway, I'll come back to you short when we get a bit further. Alrighty, I'm thinking something like that might do. I might just have to cut it slightly longer. I'll probably cut it a bit short. But yeah, by the time you really give it a... I just sort of put it through and then just sort of pulled it up gently, without putting too much pressure on it, and then spun it up. And then I really squeezed it up just before, just to see what it would sort of look like. And I think that will do quite nicely. Up against there, I imagine that's probably what it was sort of like, if you know what I mean. And just pull that screw on fairly tight, so it sort of crushes in the centre, but leaves a bit of a buffer without touching the steel. So I think that'll do nice. We'll just give it we'll just make a slightly deeper one, so we don't end up with that bit of a cut in it. Not that would be too much of a problem. I could put it at the bottom, but at least I'll make another couple and see if we can get one a bit better. But yeah, that'll work. It'll work quite nicely. So I'll make another couple and we'll get these cleaned up and sprayed up and put them on. That's what it looks like unsquashed. So yeah, that's probably the perfect piece. It was a shame it wasn't a bit squarer so I could get it a bit nicer, but yeah, that'll work out quite good, I think. Make another couple just a bit better size, and yeah, we'll go from there. Right, so I got those made. I won't really be able to tell what they look like until we get them squeezed up and whatever on those brackets. I just painted them black. So they are sitting there drying, so all that shit should be ready to go tomorrow morning. That'll give us everything a good 10 or 12 hours to dry properly overnight. So that means we can throw all those braces on. So I need to just count and check what I need for the way of hardware and have a bit of a count up and get a whole heap of 5/16 bolts, 20 aside. So I need 40 bolts and we've got some. So we'll calculate up and see what we need. Righty. Morning guys, welcome back to NZ Marko Outlaw Kustoms. A bit of bloody ring down on here. Ah, I know what. Try that, that's better. Legs on the book. So yeah, here a bit early this morning. Young fella's got to go in for some dental surgery at the hospital. They're knocking him out with some gas or whatever. Do some dental work because he's got ADHD. He's not sure how he's going to react with, you know, trying to numb the mouth with needles and stuff. So they decided to take him in there instead. But I think what we'll do is we'll get the brackets and stuff that we made and painted up yesterday and the other bits for around there. We'll get them bolted up with the hardware we've got. And then I might polish up those trim pieces and probably fit them. I also want to polish up at least that front fender and just make sure I've got that valance in far enough or out far enough, because I'm just not sure where it's exactly meant to be. And obviously the same for the other side, because I've got to drill holes in that valance to put bolts through at this end. And yeah, we might obviously try and get those pieces on with all the hardware, except for obviously the pulls, because I don't have the tops. They're still being nickeled. So yeah, but at least we can get that stuff bolted on. Yeah, and try and get a fender on. But yeah, we'll get all the hardware, all the stuff we've done yesterday on, and those little, we'll get those little foam buffer things on there with that stuff, I think. That's what we'll do today anyway. Yeah, and then later on after lunch when I've got a vehicle back, we'll go buy some extra hardware, and then I think also at some point, probably after I put those brackets on, we might have just a wee reorganise, just get some crap out of the road that doesn't need to be here again, just to try and get myself a wee more organised, get rid of some of the crap that I don't need, and yeah, I'll get getting a bit of shit floating around again. Just reorganise myself so I know what a few bits and pieces are. I may even organise that little table over the further away one. Might just have reorganised there and maybe organise some of the parts from over that trolley onto there. So it's a bit more organised, we'll see how we get on. But yeah, we'll get those painted stuff at least bolted up with a few bolts and pull it up tight, and then we can put the last of the hardware in later on today. So that'll do for a start. Sweet, that looks good. Well, that's just enough to finish it off. Just enough to finish it off. Whether it would have had that in there originally, I don't know, but it just tidies the edges up. If there is any, you know, discrepancy with a little bit of a gap or something in there, it just helps, I guess, hide, you know, the and it seems like it's a bit like that in that corner. You can see the gap in there still, in that, these corners up in here. So I might be able to, I have thought about if I can get in the right place, maybe just like putting like a smallish washer and a jet screw through the corner into here. Like I've got a little bit to play with there, not a lot, you know what I mean? I can do that on both sides and that will just help pull those gaps up. And same on that other front corner. Yeah, possibly should have, you know, they probably should have had a bolt, you know, lodged in the wood from the inside, poking out, or something. You know, if it was a modern car, you probably would have had what do you want to call it, like a nut wound into the body, and then you can just put a bolt in there, just to snug up tight, which we might do, just with the jet screw sort of type thing. I think that'll pull those corners up nice and we won't have any gaps, just to help close it up. We don't have to pull that really tight, just enough to pull in there and just pull that gap up. That'll just finish that off nicely. Just finish that off nicely. Excellent. It's good to get those brackets on. Just got to get bottom. Just got to get a last couple of bolts and we get some more hardware. I probably have got enough, but I haven't got enough washers and bits and pieces, so when I work out exactly in numbers, I'll do that. Right, let's put together these I'll throw in one of these together and just see what we're going to do here to make all that work. from stock-ish. Good bump stoppy thingy, brackety, reasonable what's it thing. In other words, one of those. What's going on here, eh? What I've got in there is a meat pie pastry in there, warming up. It's wrapped up in aluminium foil, or what we just, I know it's aluminium foil, but we call it tin foil over here. It used to be called tin foil years ago, I think, or something like that. That might have been the brand, maybe. Just got it wrapped up in there, got one heating up, just for a bit of a snack shortly. A little gas cooker that I've had around here for ages and ages and ages. Never used it, but yeah. When they cleared out a lot of stuff out of the owner's parents' place there quite a wee while ago, and yeah, there's this aluminium like cooker plate there, so I thought, oh, I'll just sit there on top and use it to heat up. You could probably cook bacon and eggs and stuff on it if you really gave the plate a good clean up. Might do one day for a laugh. But yeah. So yeah, I'm on the hunt for a frickin' little frickin' nut. I thought I had a couple of bloody nuts for this stupid frickin' little rubber buffer. But you think I can find a frickin' nut around here to fit it? And amongst all the crap? No. I know Dad would have one, but I don't have a fucking car here, unfortunately. But I'll keep hunting, but yeah, just haven't come across anything amongst all my little boxes and stuff. Keys, chain link. Is it a bike chain link? Is that like motorbike or is it push bike? Looks too wide for push bike. Could be motorbike, but it, yeah, don't know. Ralfy. I might have to go plan B, maybe. Or I'll just have to wait. I might drag a fender out and start cleaning it up. Wait a few more minutes for that pie to warm up. Tasty things. Tasty things. But anyway, need to put the phone on charge too. Anyway, yeah, I'll come back to you shortly. Righty guys, so I'm just wet sanding this back with a bit of 600, just trying to smooth it off, trying to get the orange peel back a bit. Basically, I'll get to switch to 800, I think. I'll let it dry and just have another look. I've been playing with this for not very long really, but probably giving it a few good rubs. I don't want to take it too far just in case I rub through the edge or something stupid, but it was a bit textury. Go to a reasonably fresh piece of 800 and then we'll go from there, I think. It shouldn't be too bad. It must be the other one that's got the run in it, I think, which was when I was having problems. They're not bad. We just need a rub back to get rid of the frickin' rest of the orange peel. See them flatten out and shine like a mirror. I think I am going to have a bit of an investigation because this has got a bolt hole at the front. I just can't remember. Because it's a bit awkward to get in the front there with that front balance on, so I'll just have a look and just see what the go is there. See if I can work that out before I get too crazy there. Make sure I can get a bolt in the front there somewhere. Because you've got the 4 bolts for the main brace that goes over and picks up the headlight, and then the hole on the outside. But yeah, I need to just check and see what's going on down here. See if I can get a bolt in there, or even if I can poke a bolt through from the inside and put a nut on it or something. Righty, so I've had a quick look at these bits in the front. Turn the camera around, I'll show you. So, yeah, and here, there's meant to be a thread in there, because this is all bossed. You can't get in there. Even if you could get in there, you can't get in there if you know what I mean, to put a nut on the other side. So that one there, it looks like it's 1/4, and for some reason this one here is 5/16 course. So that's easy enough to sort. I can soon get a bolt for that, but there's no point in that one being 5/16 course and that one being 1/4. So I might drill that one out and run a 5/16 course tap in there and open it out. So most of the other bolts I've got to find, so I'm going to have to buy 2, but it's definitely a course 5/16 course. So I just need to figure out what size drill bit and then drill that out and then run the tap through it. Well, we got that sorted, so that's cool. Very good. So, thread in there now, same size as the other one, so at least we're not screwing around trying to freaking find 2 different size bolt holes, or bolts. So that's cool. Right, I'll carry on. We'll have a look at this fending out, see how that sanded up, and we'll go from there. Righty. So, I now have a bunch load of those and those and those. So to shorten a couple up to fit in there, they're too long. I wound these in there. I went for about 1.25 inches, just, you know, by the time you put the spaces and freaking whatever else and on all this crap, you know, you end up with a bit of material there. So, and a couple of washers and a spring washer and whatever, it ends up being quite thick. So I got some reasonable length bolts without being stupid long, but they're a bit long for here. I need to cut about, I don't know, probably 1/4 inch off, or thereabouts. Really? Well, sometimes you wonder why you paint extra bolts, and now I know why. Really know why. Because just sometimes it's just like you just know that you're going to need extras. So, that bracket. Now I know why I needed an extra one of those little tiny ones. Because one on the outside and one in here holds that bracket in place. Just loosely holds it in place. Obviously when we bolt it up and tighten it up, those 4 bolts and these 4 bolts there, and obviously the other 2 hold it, but that holds the bracket in place till you get in. So I've got to obviously nip them up, but I'm so glad I got an extra 2. You know, and they're perfect. By the time I've tightened them up and whatever, they'll be perfect. So yeah, I'm not 100% happy with my buffing job, but I can leave this in. I want to polish. I want to wet sand it a bit more here. I got a bit much texture here yet. I don't like it, so I just want to get a bit more there. I'll have another good look in the morning when I get that door open. I get a bit more sunlight in here, and I think I just want to sand it a bit more just through this area. Just get a bit more texture out of it. The rest of it, I think I can, with a bit more of a buff and a bit more of a wax, I think we can live with. There might be the odd little piece on the edge. I might give it an extra little rub. I'll probably go back to, I might go back to 800 and go 1500, 2000, and then give it a quick rub with 3000, then just give it another general buff. Because there's a few spots like this, I don't know if you can see, like you can still see a little bit of mottling. I might give them just another wee rub too. But yeah, the rest of it's pretty good. It's about as good as what the rest of it is, if you know what I mean. Just the odd spot like that really needs a bit more rub into that corner, just flattened out a bit more. I'm pretty happy with the rest of it. I did freaking just break through this edge, so I'll just dab a little bit of black paint on there, and at some point when we give it another buff and wax and everything, that'll flatten out just a little. We'll just give it a wee dab on there and nobody will notice, I don't think. I've got a couple little spots like that around the car just with buffing. I know there's the odd one that I'll have to just touch, but I've, you know, we'll just rub through. You can see it a bit more here. Just stands out a little bit more. It's not bad, but you know, that's life of buffing, you know. And you know, like as I've said, I'm no professional. Like I've been doing this for a few years off and on. This is my first major paint job I've done in quite a long time. As I said, like I've done bits and pieces and, you know, whatever, painted those tractor, but they didn't have to buff that. Got that Jag to do at some point too. We'll get back into that at some point too. I'd like to get that back together so Dad can actually put it together. So he might better enjoy it in the last, you know, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years of his life, depending on how long he lasts for, you know. Because you know, it's quite a motorable car. You know, if he wants to take something out for a drive, something older, vintage. I don't know when he's ever going to get that rugby going again, just with motor hassles and that. Whereas the Jag would be, you know, with a bit of a tune up and you know, a bit of a get it painted and put it back together, and a couple of bits and pieces. It's pretty much a running, driving car again. Whereas the rugby needs frickin' motor done again, just about, because he's been hassles trying to find just trying to find a good block and pistons and whatever to work to rebuild one. But yeah, at some point. But I'm pretty happy with that. So that's good. So we've got those bolts sorted. So yeah, I think I'll just check the time. I might just see if I can get these again and then maybe buff it in the morning. And yeah, until we can at least get this one partly bolted up. Like I said, get that balance set right. I've got a sneaking suspicion I'm going to have to try and take this fucking thing out again, because I can't get in there to get those bolts in. It's a pain in the ass. I actually think I'm going to have to leave the motor loose until I've got the front guards on it, which is a bit of a pain. And then obviously just climb underneath and tighten it up. But yeah, I may have to pop this out to put the front guards in there at least semi-tight, jack the motor, slip that back in. It's a shame they weren't threaded or something, or whatever, you know, or probably should have just welded some fucking nuts in the back of it or something. But yeah, because you can't get your fucking hand in there. But yeah, I thought they probably would have had that in first, but I might have to pop it out, loosely put the fender on there, get at least done up enough that when I, if I do pull the bolts up tight, I mightn't have to get them behind and hold them, if you know what I mean. With the spring washer, you just have enough tension that we can slip that down in and then slip the beading in. And hopefully get enough tension between them so we can put that in. We don't have to worry about trying to get them behind to tighten them up, because you can't get in there. You can, but you can't, if you know what I mean. Like this, you got enough room to squeeze your fingers in there, and that's about it. You know, it's not much wider than what my fingers are, so it's not as though you can get a. You probably could. No, you can't. So you can't even get a spanner in from there. It's blocked off. So yeah, which is a bit of a pain. But anyway, it's just things you remember as you sort of go on and you sort of think about things. But you know, one step forward, 2 steps back. But at least it's not a biggie. It's not a problem. It's just a bit of a pain. But yeah. But anyway, we'll try and get that at least bolted on there and jiggled around tomorrow. We might leave it on, might not. You know, we can sit some of these big duvet sort of type things in there. I might fucking have to rip that zip off. That's an old sleeping bag by the looks of it. I'll pull that zip off. But there's a couple of old thick duvets and blanket sort of type things there we can throw over those front fenders, so it's not getting scratched. But yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. Can't wait to see that stuff on there. But anyway, yeah, I'll stop waffling. I'll give that another quick wee rub, and if I get enough time, I'll give it a quick polish and get it ready to bolt on in the morning or something. Righty. So I've gone back through it all, right back to the 3000. I've done all the problem areas with 600 and 800, and then with 1500 and 2000, then the 3000. I actually cut one of these in half. I grabbed a new one and used it to do the whole thing, but I cut one of the older ones in half to actually get up into these edges a bit, because I noticed that sometimes when I'm buffing, because I haven't got right into these edges, it's a bit flat in there. But so yeah, we'll see what it looks like. We might just, when we could maybe give this stuff a rebuff or something like that, I might just rub around with this 3000 in around the edges, a few spots before we re-wax or whatever, with maybe by machine or whatever. We'll just see what happens, if you know what I mean. Just to try and, I guess, smooth these, get right back into these edges and just get them a bit more polished up with that fine pad, just to bring the edges up, hopefully a bit shinier when we buff. So I'm going to leave that till the morning, and yeah, give it a dry, well, give it a dust off and a clean off, and then buff it. So that'll do for now. Hopefully, even with the shadow there, it looks a bit better now. Just use a bit of wee rinse. Yeah, it appears to be better. You can see the reflection in the, just sort of wet. It's definitely damn sight smoother through there, so it's cool. It's what we wanted. It's what we wanted, and I'm sure this is way better, and any other little areas that I've had again should be good. Give her in the buff in the morning and throw her on. Awesome foreskin. Awesome. Can't wait to get the other one done, and we'll poke them on there and see what's going on. I should have plenty of bolts now, hopefully. Should have plenty. So what do we need here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, plus the 4 for the brace. So yeah, I've got heaps and I've got enough further back. I think I grabbed about 40, just so I had spares, a few extra nuts and washers and bits and pieces, so I should have plenty. There's bound to be somewhere else I'll need the odd little bolt here and there amongst stuff. Cool. Alright, see you in the morning. Before I do leave, we've got webbing for seatbelt to the top webbing for the canvas top, so I can set the bows. I've got this fucking hose. I don't really know whether to use that or just go buy something else. Take this back, because like me trying to cut the stainless braided fucking line, don't have the clips and the clamps and the fucking shit to go with that, unless I can, unless it's rubber hosing in the behind it. I don't fucking know. I don't know who the fuck gave them that. And I got a heap of copper fuel line. We had to buy a whole fucking reel of it. So if I do a few more vintage vehicles over time or whatever, I've got plenty of that sort of shit there. But that's going to be a pain in the fucking ass. Or just plain inch fucking black fucking hose would have been way better. Because it's going to look stupid. But anyway, see if I can maybe change it or exchange it or something like that. There's bound to be somebody around that's got fucking reels of hose instead of that shit. But anyway, it'll look weird in there. It'll look weird. Anyway, carry on. See you tomorrow.
Welcome to Iron Outlaws. Stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss this.